Welcome, everyone. I'm Shah, and today we're going to talk about how to build your custom AI agent with MCP. But before getting into that, you might be wondering, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? So a little background about me. I got into AI about 7 years ago, where I was a applied AI researcher while I was getting my physics PhD. After that, I went on to industry, where I was working as a data scientist at Toyota Financial Services. But then after a year in that role, I went out on my own, become an entrepreneur, which has meant a lot of different things. I did AI consulting for a bit, where I've helped over 100 clients. I've made a lot of educational content on YouTube and Medium, and maybe you heard of me originally through my YouTube channel or one of my blog posts. I also now have a class on Maven that I teach on AI. Have had over 135 students. Also, have been building some AI SaaS products over the past year. Built one called Y2B last year, had a whopping 211 users, one customer, and then just last month I launched another SaaS called Ghost, or ghostwriter.com, and that one's early days, 40 users, but still a fun experience nonetheless. Let's just jump into the talk on MCP. MCP has been gaining a lot of popularity over the past 10 months, or I guess 11 months now. Anthropic released it in November of 2024, and now it's kind of become maybe kind of a buzzword, but also a tool that people are using in many different contexts. So if you're wondering what this is, MCP is just a standard way to connect tools and context to AI applications. The analogy that Anthropic uses to describe MCP is that it's kind of like the USB-C port of AI apps. So right now I have my laptop and I've got like multiple devices plugged into it using USB-C. And you can think of this in the context of AI apps. You can have your AI app like Claude Desktop, and then you can plug in a bunch of peripheral devices into Claude Desktop using MCP. Just to give you some concrete use cases of this, you can use MCP to do custom integrations to AI apps like Claude Desktop. So if you want to give Claude access to your Google Drive and then give it access to Slack channels so it has additional context, and even if you wanted it to message people, generate summaries of meetings and post it in Slack, or summarize discussions and upload it to Google Drive, you can have it do that. You can also plug and play different tool sets. So you can go find MCP servers on the internet, and then you can give them to large language models to build custom applications and custom agents, which we'll get a little flavor of today. Or you can build your own custom MCP servers and connect them to your favorite LLM or even your favorite LLM application. The way MCP works is actually using a very common architecture that is used a lot in web development, which is this client-server architecture. And so basically, this is kind of like if you go to a coffee shop and you're the client and the server is like the barista. And basically, what's going to happen is you're going to make some kind of request to the server. So for example, you might request a pumpkin spice latte, and then in response to your request, you'll get a response from the server. So the server will say, yeah, you got it, and then they'll make you a pumpkin spice latte. This is essentially how MCP works. So instead of a client at a coffee shop and a barista that is the server, you'll have an MCP client and an MCP server. Basically, the requests that the MCP client might make are things like asking the server what tools it has available, and then the MCP server will respond with things like the list of whatever tools it has. Let's dive into each of these parts of the MCP workflow. We'll start with the client. So basically, the client is something that's built into the AI application, and it's what is going to send requests to the MCP server and receive the responses and make those responses available to the application. For example, you can have an application like Claude Desktop, which has an LLM inside of it, and then Claude Desktop has this MCP client inside of it, and this is what is going to interact and communicate with the large language model, and then the MCP client is going to interact with the server. You can communicate with multiple servers, and then this is going to be facilitated through multiple clients. But essentially what the client is going to be responsible for are things like discovering the server capabilities, asking it what tools do you have available, what resources do you have available, what prompts are available, receiving data from servers, servers, getting a prompt or a resource that the server is making available. It's going to go through the client, and then the client is going to decide how to put that in the context window of the large language model, and also managing the tool execution because LLMs by themselves can't actually run tools. They can generate text, which tells the client how it wants to execute the tool call, but ultimately it's the client that has to trigger the Python code to actually be run or whatever it is. So that's the client. The other part of the MCP workflow is the server. So the server is what is going to listen for requests from the MCP clients and respond accordingly. Again, we have this little example of Claude Desktop, MCP client talking to MCP server, and the server is going to have three key features. So the first thing, it's going to have a set of tools. So this could be just like Python functions. It could be accessing an API like Notion's API. It could do arbitrary things like image processing. It's going to have resources. So you can think of this as like a database, a file system, basically things that you want the LLM or the AI application to have access to. And then finally, you can have prompts stored in the server. So these are pre-written instructions that might be helpful for various tasks. And so we're going to see some examples of this in the demo a little later. But the last thing we're talking about is basically the way you can facilitate the communication between the client and the server. So the first and simplest way you can have the client and server talk to each other is locally. So you can have everything running on your laptop, and then this is facilitated by the standard IO. This is great for if you're just doing things locally, or if you're trying to develop your own MCP server, you can test it locally. You can also have this communication between the client and server remotely using HTTP. The way this works is the way most things on the web work. So you'll have some application and it's going to send a request. So in this case, it's going to be a post request to some other computer on the internet that is hosting this MCP server, and then they can talk to each other. So a concrete example of this is that Notion has a remote MCP server. So if I'm running Claude Desktop locally, I can communicate with Notion's MCP server and get access to various tools and resources that are available in my Notion account. That's a whirlwind intro of MCP. Next, I want to walk through a concrete example of building a YouTube agent through a MCP server. The overview here of what we're trying to build is this YouTube agent. So basically, this is me with a mustache, and then I'm going to ask an LLM to do something, but I want it to have access to YouTube transcripts and specific instructions on how to process YouTube transcripts and even a system prompt. So basically, everything that you need to turn this LLM into a helpful agent is going to be within this MCP server. And then the final result of this is that this agent will be able to do things like extract transcripts, write chapter timestamps and titles for different parts of the video, write blog posts, write social posts, and basically any arbitrary task that you might want to do based on a YouTube transcript. So that's like the high level thing of what we're trying to do. And I'm not just going to use any LLM here. I'm going to use GPT-5 using OpenAI's Agents SDK. And the key steps that we're going to go through is we're going to first create this MCP server, which is actually super simple. And we'll see how we can do that using the official MCP SDK. Next, we're going to add a prompt and some tools to our MCP server. We're going to set up local transport. So basically, this is all just going to run on my laptop. No need to set up a remote server or anything like that. Next, we're going to create an agent using the MCP server. So basically, all we're going to do is give GPT-5 access to this server that we just created. And then finally, we can interact with the agent through the command line. Step one, creating the MCP server. First, we're going to just import some things. This MCP library is the official Python SDK from Anthropic. There are a lot of MCP libraries and tools out there that are from third parties, but Anthropic has a good SDK. They invented it, so that's going to be the trusted source. The next thing I'm going to do is import this class from this YouTube transcript API. This is a Python library that allows you to get YouTube transcripts. And then I'm going to import regex to help facilitate one of these tools, and then OS to import a API key. Those are the imports. Creating the server is actually super simple. We can just use this fast MCP class from the MCP library, and we just give it a name. So I'm going to call this MCP server YouTube-MCP, and then it's going to be saved as this MCP variable. Then we can move on to step 2. So we're going to add a prompt and tools. This is going to be the system prompt for the agent that kind of gives it instructions on its purpose, what tools it has access to, how to use those tools, and so on. The way you create, whether it's a prompt, a resource, or a tool for your custom MCP server is just making a Python function. So here I made a function called system prompt that takes no input arguments and outputs a string. And all I did was add this mcp.prompt decorator to it. And this is automatically going to turn this function into this prompt feature of the MCP server. And then inside, all it's doing is, I mean, there's some like fanciness happening here, but really all that's happening is it's looking in the local directory and it's finding a markdown file called systeminstructions.md. And then it's just going to return that. This is actually what the system instructions look like. You are a YouTube video agent. You help users with requests related to YouTube videos, and then just like some guidelines on how to do stuff. So core rule, always cite and link specific parts of videos used in your answer. Then I'm listing out the tools here. So there's one tool, fetch video transcript. Another one's called fetch instructions. This is actually all available on the GitHub repo. So that's linked here, and I'll drop the link in the chat in a bit. So that's the prompt. We're just loading in a markdown file. Then we can add these tools. So we can create tools in very much the same way. We're just going to create a Python function called fetch video transcript, but now this is going to take an input. So we're going to pass in a string called URL, and it's going to output a string. I have a doc string here that is describing how it works. So the input is URL. It's a YouTube video URL. And then the output is going to be a string, which is a formatted transcript with timestamps. And so it's actually very important that when you are creating these tools for your MCP server, you have a very detailed doc string on how this tool actually works, because this doc string is what's going to be passed to the large language model when it's trying to decide what tool is relevant to a particular user request. I've truncated the code here, but it's all on the GitHub repo just because it's a little long. But then in the same way, we can build this other tool called fetch instructions. What this is going to do is take in one of these 3 input arguments, write blog post, write social post, or write video chapters. And then it's going to receive back a specific set of instructions for that prompt. So basically, the LLM would use this if a user asks something like, write me video chapters. It's going to fetch the instructions for writing video chapters, add it to the context window, and then it'll hopefully do a better job at writing chapters. So that's step 2. Step 3 is local transport. To set this up, it's actually super simple. We're just going to do this mcp.run. And then we're going to set the transport as standard IO. So this is going to allow the server to run locally on my laptop. The next thing we want to do is to create the agent. And the way we do that is by connecting an LLM to the MCP server. So this is actually pretty straightforward using OpenAI's Agents SDK. So the first thing I'll do is import my OpenAI API key. So I'm going to do that from a .env file using this syntax here. The next thing we want to do is load the MCP server. Little fanciness going on here, but the thing that's important is that we're using this MCP server standard IO class from OpenAI's Agents SDK. And then there we're just going to pass it the name of the server and then basically a command for how to run that server. So here I'm going to use UV to do that, and it's just going to be UV run MCP server / YouTube MCP.py. So basically this is the path to the file we just created with the MCP server code in it. And then our agent is just going to spin up this server anytime it wants to run the tools and things like that. We can also create a trace. This is just like a technical detail. It's not super important, but basically this is going to allow us to go on our OpenAI dashboard and review the full trace of the agent. But like creating the agent itself is actually super straightforward. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to get the system prompt from from the MCP server, and then we're going to store the prompt result as this instructions variable, and then we're going to create the agent. So OpenAI's Agents SDK has this agent class, and to create the agent, we just give it a name, we give it instructions, and then we can give it an MCP server, and then just like that, we have our agent. But probably the most complicated part of this application is creating the user interface because the agent can do a lot of different things. We want it to stream tokens, and we want to know when it calls a tool, and we want to do specific things with those tool calls. But all of that is in the GitHub repo, so you can look at the full code if you want, but just in interest of time, I won't go through that here. Finally, we can just interact with the agent. So let me just do a quick demo. Here I'm sitting in the repo, basically. So if you do a git clone and get the repo from GitHub, you're going to have this on your machine. Let me just show the repo real quick. So that'll probably be a little easier. Basically, how to set up this repo, it's on the GitHub. So you just clone the repo, run UV-sync, set up your .env file with your OpenAI API key, and then you'll just run this command, uv run main.py. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do here. uv run main.py. This command line interface is going to pull up. So it's YouTube agent, type exit to end the conversation. And then what we could do is just grab a YouTube video link. Let's see. Let me go to a popular one. Let's get the one on MCP to be a little meta. So we'll copy this, and then I'll go back here and I'll do that. And then we're going to see the agent work. So we see that it called the tool, the fetch transcript tool, and it said it was fetching the transcript, and then it finished the tool call. And then now it's telling us, it fetched the full transcript. And then if we have specific questions or need a summary or a blog post. So it's kind of giving us instructions on the kinds of things that it can do, which is pretty cool. So let me ask for video chapters. I'm not even like making it very conversational. I'm just commanding it to do things. But you can see that it called another tool. So it was fetching transcripts, and then it got the tool call completed. Then it's kind of listing out these different chapters. So we have an introduction, and then it's going to give us a link and a timestamp. Let's see, MCP as a universal connector, key benefits of MCP, how MCP works inside the MCP. So I feel like this did a pretty good job. Maybe it's a little too granular for my preferences, but that's something we could actually improve if we go into the repo here and we click MCP Server and click prompts. We can actually go to the video chapter instructions and we can update these if we feel like the agent isn't writing chapters in a way that we like. We can just update the prompt here and hopefully that'll improve it. Okay, so that was like a whirlwind tour of MCP. Now we'll do the Q&A. I'm going to go through the